First Alert Weather with meteorologist Amanda Curran.
So we're getting ready for the upcoming weekend, and it's been a minute since we've seen any significant wet weather. We were really grateful for this passing cold front. It brought several inches of beneficial rain across all of Alabama. Now, behind this boundary, much colder, drier air with upper 30s back in the mix by Friday, but then several mornings as we get ready for your weekend and upcoming Christmas holiday where we're either at or below freezing. We want to talk about Saturday and Sunday. Scattered showers and storms are possible both days, so much like your 4th of July and today, there are going to be plenty, and I mean plenty, of dry and hot hours ahead. Upwards of 10,000 people without power early this morning. This is why we tell you to keep your devices charged, have multiple reliable ways of getting weather information. You cannot just rely on technology that needs electricity. It doesn't have a lot of competition to work with, right? So it really gets to thrive in an environment that has a lot more of that warm, moist air. Storms love that. But when we get these couplets of red and green together, that is where we're showing the radar beam picking up on winds moving in different directions. That tells us some are moving towards the radar beam, some are moving away, and that is significant because that implies that there was rotation happening at some level in the atmosphere. While this is an active situation, remember, this is a snapshot of what's happening. Storms are not standing still saying, "Geez, take my picture." Radar is constantly taking pictures as that beam is rotating through, but these storms are then actively moving. So remember, we have to plan in time, not only what is happening actively on the ground, but looking ahead to what could be happening next. And as you can see, we're really starting to get the classic elements of a storm gaining a momentum and gaining signs of recognition on radar. On the ground right now, confirmed for our friends in Pike Road. This is moving over County Road 101 as we speak, west side of Matthews, south side of Pike Road. This is continuing to head off towards the north and east. You need to be in that tornado safe place right now. We're getting debris lofted into the air. We can see that here in the Vance Law Firm storm track zone. You can actually see where we're getting that bright spot popping up. And this is probably not only just the most pronounced that we've seen today across our viewing area, one of the more pronounced ones we've probably seen in the entire calendar year of 2024. You want to try to put as many interior walls in between you and the outside of the building that you're in, and this is where the debris is being lofted right now. So this is steadily going to head north and east. New scan now just coming in showing we still have signs of a tornado debris signature over McDade. That's going to be west of Cecil, right along Vaughn Road. So if you know Vaughn Road, how it travels and then goes into Pike Road, out of East Montgomery. So we come from East Montgomery, we go through the Mary community, then we come south through Pike Road into McDade. That's the part of Vaughn Road we're talking about. That is very important, but our job is to give you information to look ahead so that you can give yourself as much padding and as much time to get in that safe place. It is quiet, it is calm. If you're right on the Montgomery-Macon County line, do not let that trick you into thinking that you are done. You are just getting started with a severe weather threat. This is probably the strongest storm in signature we've seen in central Alabama all night. Down the line now, our friends in Shorter, you need to be ready to move. I get the feeling like with a storm like this and what we're seeing on radar and this new scan that's coming in showing evidence of it still being well defined, the National Weather Service office in Birmingham is going to have to issue an extension. We don't have to wait for them to do that. We can give you a first alert heads up that if this continues for another 10 miles, this will be a Macon County issue and very quickly. So we need you to get in that tornado safe place and be ready to move. Have your devices with you so you can continue to listen to our voices as we tell you where this is going. Check out some of these numbers. Find the town that you live in or the one closest to you. Many of you by sunrise early Wednesday morning will not be warm. You'll be talking numbers in the low and mid 40s. And the coldest morning of all is early Thursday, where we see a lot of you potentially flirt with upper 30s. That's the first time that's happened in months, and after months of heat and humidity, this is definitely going to feel different. We'll let you know if frost could potentially form and if it causes any concerns. Oh, well, I'm only in the yellow, so where did Amanda go? She's gone. Ah, there she is. Gotta love live TV. But remember, not necessarily a huge surprise that this is a dry forecast. October is traditionally our driest month of the year. And unless we get some kind of big tropical system to roll through the area, we usually don't get a lot of measurable rainfall. But we are much lower than average. They have sent the Air Force Reserve hurricane hunters into Helene. And as of about 30 minutes ago, they discovered wind speeds upwards of 120 miles an hour. That officially takes this to a major Category 3 storm, and with several hours between where it is right now and when we anticipate landfall, this will continue to gain momentum. Locally, the impacts for Alabama have not changed at all. The track is right on, with some of the wind threat still hanging out in our counties in extreme eastern Alabama, especially closer to either the Florida Panhandle or the Georgia border, with very little in the form of wet weather the farther west you live. So when we tell you it's not one size fits all, it's not because we don't want to give everybody the same beneficial wet weather, but I think you get a little too much rain. That's a flooding concern in East Alabama. We might be able to call it beneficial and just kind of a nuisance rain for a lot of you across central portions of the state, and it's a lack of rain for a lot of you in West Alabama.
Am I live? I can't tell. Okay, so if your glasses are the correct type of glasses, then you shouldn't be able to see anything. I feel like I have a blindfold, but I can like look up and I can look down. But for us here across central and south Alabama, we're ranging anywhere from 75 upwards of 85% totality, which means that 75 to 85% of the sun's surface is covered. That's still 15 to 25% of the sun that is not covered. So keep in mind, can I do weather with these on? Let's see if I can point. Jasmine, am I there? We're going to be watching and giving you more looks ahead of what you will experience if you decided to stay local here. Plus, we're going to talk cloud cover forecast to let you know if there is going to be any issues when you try to use these glasses today. I think this is a look. Want to talk about what we're tracking, the next three big things. Today, we are going to see those scattered showers. I think there's a lot more dry hours than wet hours. Thankfully, that is good news for us here right now as the Montgomery Biscuits are getting ready to kick start their home opener. Interactive radar will be your best friend over the next 48 to 72 hours. And then this weekend, you can look at how warm those temperatures are going to get. Beautiful forecast this weekend, but we are going to be talking about the fact that that first alert weather day impacts almost all of central and south Alabama tomorrow. One night only, they're doing half off hot dogs. So not only can you watch the Biscuits, who are just absolutely doing some great stuff with baseball, but they have tons of stuff to do at Riverwalk Stadium. Plus, you can get half off dinner tonight. The area of concern shows this velocity signature right here. And even though it's not the most well pronounced, it's the most robust one we've seen as of this morning. We've seen these small little couplets that have been very weak and very broad. That usually means there's some kind of rotation in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Once they get a little bit tighter and they get this close to the radar, take a look right here. That radar site is very close. So we're getting some real-time data on the ground, and you can kind of see where these reds and greens are coming together. That's going to be that area of concern. So if you're watching us from anywhere else, including our friends down in the Wiregrass, if you live in South Alabama, you haven't seen any rain this morning, this is likely falling apart as it heads south and east. So do want to let you know that you have a low-end risk for severe weather later today, but this is not something that is going to last all day. This will go through the next couple of hours of our morning, and then we'll start to fizzle out. By the afternoon, some leftover rain is possible, but that severe weather risk will have ended. So if everything is moving in the same direction, that means it's straight line wind and everything is moving together. When you start to get different colors, especially this close to the radar, that tells us not only could there be potential spin in the atmosphere, but we're getting a really good low-level look at what's going on. So especially north of the Liberty community, you need to be in that tornado safe place and be there now. We told you that even though this was a low-end severe weather risk, quick little spin-ups were going to be possible. And this is the first and hopefully the only one we see today. Along with that thin line of activity, we are also going to be potentially tracking gusty, potentially damaging wind. But I think this area in particular, they've probably seen some weakening of it in the past couple of scans. We can put it in play mode. You can see how quickly it pops up. We probably got a little pop right there of changing colors, tempting them to issue that tornado warning, because the amount of moisture in the atmosphere is really a driver for everything. What it feels like, how hot it gets, and if and when we see wet weather. So Julie and Sally, we'll talk all about your forecast looking ahead now into the weekend coming up. So really, you kind of have to pick your poison this time of year. You get the heat, but it feels like the number on the thermometer, or you maybe don't get as hot and you have that moisture, which makes it feel like it's even warmer. So
Whether that's exercising, whether that's yard work, whether that's just enjoying some of this warmth, it will be the most comfortable time to do it earlier in the morning and during the evenings as well.
All right, let's give it a whirl.
Cheers.
Here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Okay. It like doesn't hit you real quick. Here, do you want to try?